Hi, and welcome back to the Self-Actualization in the Age of Crisis Chapter Summary Series. I'm your host, Ron Rivers, and today we're going to be exploring Chapter 3, Economy, Labor, and Property, subsection Free Labor. So, free labor is a circumstance where individual divinity and dignity are unbound to their employment circumstance. It's a time experience where anyone can direct their focus and energy towards imagination in the direction of their choice, ultimately being able to work on the things they want to work on that inspire them and help them grow in the vision that they see fit. It's a form of production that prioritizes selective depth over a wide range of memorization and regurgitation. It's not repeatable typically. It's deep specialization in knowledge and really intuition in many ways for the occupation. It encourages a form of work that obviously emphasizes cooperation, imagination, collaboration, and dialogue, but also can be very direct, right? Can be independent trades. I mean, ultimately, there is no limit to how free labor might take shape, so long as it's within the confines of really prioritizing the human being over the systems guiding our lives. What free labor offers is a lot of flexibility. So the idea is that individuals are able to kind of join and leave projects as they see fit, collaborate in groups for extended period of times or short period of times, ultimately kind of create their own schedules to kind of create and produce in the direction of their choice. Free labor is in many ways empowered by some of the emerging technologies. So earlier we spoke about self-changing systems and decentralized autonomous organizations. These are really kind of the foundational building blocks that we're witnessing today in combination with the emerging AI technology that is really going to fuel a new kind of genre and generation of free labor workers that we want to support, because ultimately that is a core component of systemic actualization and overcoming our crisis of productivity and participation. I should also emphasize that free labor as an economic arrangement supports our core values of equity, flexibility, enthusiasm, and courage. It really develops a much stronger human being in terms of being able to create in their own vision. So when we talk about free labor through the lens of the single truth, the relational universe, and overcoming the age of crisis, it's a really critical component in that it allows the individual to free themselves from the singular kind of static frameworks of productivity that we presently inhabit. When we compare it to other forms of labor, for example, like wage labor is akin to slavery, and it was never intended to be a permanent solution. The present capitalist class is doing its best to kind of maintain it, but it's a perpetual race to the bottom. We could also consider forms of self-employment. Now, self-employment, right, entrepreneurship has a great mystique in the United States. It's really got a lot of dogmas and imagination around it, but in reality, the vast majority of laws supporting entrepreneurship really benefit and maximize benefits for a very small group of property owning entrepreneurs. So when we consider the full gambit of entrepreneurship, let's say, for example, the gig economy worker. The gig economy worker has all of the risks of entrepreneurship, but none of the benefits. They get no kind of ownership of the means of production, purely just take on all the risks. Let's talk about the small business owner who rents their property. In many cases, most small business owners in the United States, which I want to emphasize, small businesses make up 99% of businesses in the United States. So out of all the businesses that exist, 99% of them are small owned businesses. And many of them are just struggling to get by. As a former small business owner, I spent 8 years running a Web 2 e-commerce company before exiting. In the first 4 years were a persistent struggle of just having enough money to pay my employees, let alone take any money myself. That's a very real struggle. So again, I want to emphasize the laws do not benefit the really grassroots entrepreneur. And it's really fascinating when we consider labor in the United States and the kind of the American narrative, right? The American dream that you can do anything. We have to ask ourselves, why in a society that prioritizes innovation so much, at least in its lore, do they make it so difficult for innovators to experiment, right? Because at the end of the day, the cost of failure for experimentation in the United States is massive. Because we lack social safety nets, if you invest 50 grand, let's say it's your life savings in a small business, and in 3 years you fail, you're left with nothing. But you also lack the social safety nets to even stand up on your own 2 feet. You really have to kind of dig deep and start over. So why is that? And ultimately, we have to kind of trace it all the way back to the founding of the U.S. Constitution, the frameworks of meaning and value that were infused in these kind of foundational laws and organization of economics and government, and essentially realizing that it is and has always been about supporting a very small group of insiders and keeping intentionally a very large group of outsiders. And systemic actualization is our process, our spiritual project to break those binds and really allow us to maximize all of the latent imagination that lays dormant in humanity.